Buggy, you come here today. Oh, you want to be with me? You want to be with me? Are you here to provide support? I hope you are, because this fucking balance patch is absurd. I had no hopes going into this, not after what was said in the last dev blog, that tanks were somehow not tanky enough. You know, not like we already have a character who is running around with 40% damage reduction and can just heal at any time he wants. Not like we have a character who has mass damage reduction and can give it to his teammates and can also heal just by shooting other characters. But sure, it's not like we have a tank that has everything that you could want right here. But okay. Let's what do we have? Nothing to me. Garbage, same recycled stuff. The mythic. Why even bring this up if it isn't even coming till July 23rd? Player surveys. After a match is done, you may occasionally be invited to participate in a web-based survey that you can complete on PC or using your mobile device by scanning on-screen QR code. This is your chance to let us know how you have been enjoying Overwatch 2 and help us identify areas where the game can be improved. I don't know who sat down and said that that was going to be a good idea. The amount of hate and shit and smack talking that you are about to receive is unbelievable. Yeah, you're about to find out real quick what people think. Audio updates adjusted the volume levels of health pool impacts when shooting enemies with base health. Shields, armor, or overhealth made the sound cues clearer as to what health types you are damaging. Okay. Alright. The universal change. Armor flat damage reduction increased from 5 to 10 per projectile. Enemy health bars now display when they're at low health threshold. Armor changes have had a positive impact on which heroes and damage types are slowed down by armor health. We're increasing the damage reduction on it to further widen the pool of heroes that are significantly affected by armor's defense. Holy shit, let's keep that in mind as we read what's about to come. Tank roll passive. Ultimate generation reduction increased from 30 to 40%, and the knockback resistance reduced from 50 to 40%. Sorry, reduced. So already, tanks are getting some things taken away. Alright. D.Va's defense matrix duration increased from 3 to 3.5 seconds. Micro missiles explosion damage increased from 4 to 5.5 damage. From 126 to 153 max damage with direct impact. So I guess this is alright. This, I mean, with the armor increase, the better armor. I'm just speechless. Maximum defensive matrix is increased by half a second by reducing the rate at which the resource meter drains when it's in use. Wait. By reducing the rate at which the meter drains when it's used. So it won't take longer to regenerate. That's wild. So they just want this to be up for longer, her defense matrix. Alright, Doomfist. The best defense. This is his passive. Over health gain per target So whenever he slams or punches someone and it connects with somebody, he gains shields. Or overhealth, my bad. So now he's getting 5 more for overhealth. And delay before overhealth begins to drain. Increase from 1 to 3 seconds. Most of Doomfist's survivability is through his excellent mobility, but this boost to his passive overhealth generation will enable him to stay in a fight for longer before disengaging. Well, you're gonna wait for your cooldowns to come back up to disengage with him, aren't you? Or what? Are they... I mean, you said it right here. Most of his survivability is through his excellent mobility. Yes, he's a high mobility tank. He's not... whatever. Junker Queen. Commanding Shout. Overhealth increased from 150 to 175. And her passive, wound damage self-healing multiply, increased from 2 to 2.5. I don't think Junker Queen needed anything. Junker Queen is a relatively small and fast for a tank hero. She is on the smaller side, so I don't know if she even needed the healing, but sure. Better rewards her for managing her abilities. Just for hitting more people. Oh boy, oh boy! Oh boy! Everybody's favorite, Malga. There he is. Overrun. Knockback damage increased from 25 to 30. Stomp damage increased from 60 to 75. So, and then we have Cardiac Overdrive. Duration reduced from 5 to 3 seconds. Lifesteal increased from 60 to 100%. Damage reduction increased from 30 to 40%. Allies now receive only half of lifesteal and damage reduction effect value. Oh my fucking goodness, Blizzard. So this is the fun part right here, Overrun. That's like the fun part of his kit. This part, no matter how you spin this, even just at 3 seconds, 100% lifesteal and 40% damage reduction. That's what Roadhog has when he's taking a breather. You actually have to be fucking shitting me. Cardiac Overdrive is Malga's primary tanking ability that keeps him in the fight. Thanks, Captain Sherlock. Didn't know that one. But the previous duration was difficult to counter. It is now more potent, effective, with a shorter duration to increase the importance of choosing both the right moment to use it as Malga and when tried to... So, okay, yeah. So you made the duration shorter, but you made it more potent. So you made it stronger. Which just means you have to, like, disengage against him whenever he pops this for 3 seconds. Because now he has 40% damage reduction. And as long as he's shooting the tank, he will never die. Okay. Ooh. Orisa, everybody's favorite golden horse. They just reverted it from 3.5 to 4 seconds. They nerfed it from 4 to 3.5, and now they're just reverting it. Everybody's favorite horse that just never fucking dies. Fortified Javelin spin abilities were weakened further overlay. When Orisa was overly dominant, she has not been performing well since that. But in this patch, we're broadly adjusting how impactful the role is, so there is room again to return. It's already impactful. What are you talking about? It's impactful and not at the same time. It's the most impactful role, yet playing it feels like shit and feels like you have very little options to do anything. Ramatra, it's been a little bit since he's seen anything. So, oh my goodness. Nemesis form, bonus armor increase from 225 to 300. So that's already big. 75 more armor. Plus the making it even better in this patch. So good luck trying to kill him when he's blocking was even more damage reduction. And then Pummel got a damage increase. It's notable as it reduces the number of punches required to knock out a 250 health hero. Thanks. Guys, did you know that if it does more damage, you have to swing less? Did you know that? If it does more damage, you can shoot less? Oh my goodness. Thanks. Reinhardt. Maximum health for his shield increased from 140 to 1,600. And the barrier regeneration rate increased from 140 to 160 health per second. Charge. His damage increased from 275 to 300. What was the point of like the health increase when like some characters just got absolutely thrashed because of it and became like actually unpickable or throw picks? But now we're just like bringing everything up, right? It was Ramatra for the 250 health heroes. So what the fuck was the point of the health increases if we're just gonna increase the damage for everything to bring it back so that way they were just doing what they were doing before? It's just bigger numbers now. One of the core design goals for Reinhardt is to be the hero that shields his team. In the past, we've reduced the barrier health significantly in order to improve other offensive aspects of his kit to better fit the fast-paced gameplay of Overwatch 2. But perhaps it was too much. We still want to avoid barriers feeling mandatory due to how useful they can be and keep tank diversity at a healthy level. However, with this patch, looking at the tank role in particular, we're increasing Reinhardt's barrier health again and will evaluate further. Keep tank diversity at a healthy level? What's a healthy level? Every time I die, I have to fucking switch. Every time you die on tank, you have to switch because not even keeping your ult is worth any team fight. You're gonna lose 3 team fights before you even build your ult, and even then, you're just gonna get fucking whole hogged by the Roadhog and push you away. So it doesn't even matter when you fucking build it up. So you have to immediately swap, otherwise you're just gonna have a 10 times harder time doing anything on your character. Oh boy. Roadhogs, Pigpen. Area damage after activating increased from 30 to 45 damage per second. Okay, why? Recovery time reduced from 0.55 to 0.4 seconds. Cooldown now begins immediately when used instead of after a short delay. I hate this ability so much. It is just an extra step to his one-shot nonsense. And it just feels like an ability to use against Junker Queen to like slow her down. Other than that, this thing is just annoying. The Pigpen ability wasn't very useful outside of being used in chain hook combos. So we're increasing its potential threat if an enemy stays within its area. At least they acknowledged that it was a useless piece of shit and just used for his chain hook combos. Fun. Alright, the tank that has literally everything in the game that you could want. Shield, a defensive matrix that converts damage into overhealth, and a CC stun ability. Cool. Oh, speaking of CC, his rock impact damage increased from 40 to 80, 120 damage total. So you get rewarded more for landing his rock. Sigma is a tank that does not currently have an issue with survivability when cycling between managing his barrier, kinetic grasp, and weapon range. We are, however, increasing the damage of accretion to bring back more of the threat it used to pose. Increase the satisfaction in landing it. Is a tank that does not currently have an issue with survivability. It's almost like he has 2 things. It's almost like he can place a shield anywhere on the map that he fucking wants and has an eat that converts all the damage that he absorbs into overhealth. That's crazy. Alright, our boy Winston. Tesla cannon. Secondary fire charge time reduced from 1 second to 0.85. That's the Tesla cannon. That's the... So it takes shorter time to shoot off his Thunderbolt. Primal Rage, maximum health gain increased from 5 to 700. I don't know if that does anything for him. He has armor, if I'm not mistaken. I play this game every day. I don't know if that's what he needed. Max health increased from 5 to 700. Okay, I guess. Secondary fire felt underwhelming for how long it took to charge, so it'll now be a bit more fluid. We also still want Primal Rage to be killable, but adding some health to it will help avoid some of the extreme situations where it could happen too quickly. Okay, I guess. Ooh, Wrecking Ball, my favorite character that they reworked. That they immediately buffed afterwards because he was performing so well. Quad cannons, automatic reload time while transform reduced from 2 to 1.6 seconds, so he automatically reloads when he's in his ball and rolling around faster. Adaptive shields, allied overhealth transfer ratio increased by 50%. Use up to 50 overhealth per target to grant allies up to 75 HP. I want to know how many fucking hamsters on this planet actually use this to give this to their team. I want to know how many Wrecking Balls have actually pressed E twice to give their overhealth to their teammates. To sacrifice them being in the backline, getting crazy good ult charge and potentially a pick to run back to their team and go, here's my overhealth. That's not what he was designed for. Wrecking Ball has excellent mobility and survivability and will now be more effective in transferring some of that survivability to his teammates. No. Should he choose to return to them, we're also making the... Dude. It's not what he was designed for. He was designed to be a nuisance in the backline, cause a disturbance, get a pick or two, displace the enemy if they decided to go take an off angle, or boop them in and punish them, or force them off a high ground. He's not meant to be playing with his team all that often. Oh man, Zarya. Oh no. Particle barrier health increased from 200 to 225. Duration increased from 2 to 2.5, and that's on both her barriers. Increasing the health on these barriers also means the total energy Zarya gain per barrier is also increased. No, dude, you want to know what this is? Let me see. You know what's gonna happen when the Zarya comes up to you? Uh-oh. Computer didn't like that. Anyways. So that is gonna happen. And this is all that's gonna happen. Is like, when the Zarya comes up to you, you two are just gonna stare at each other like this. As she like, waits for Bubble to come up. Or waits for Bubble to go back down. As she's just standing in front of you. You're both just gonna be staring at each other. That's all that's gonna do. Its duration increased from 2 to 2.5. Increasing health on the barriers means that she's going to get more charge, blah, blah, blah. So this boosts to both her offense and defensive capabilities. Yeah, cool. You get to stare at her for longer. And your Junkrat gets to give her more energy if he doesn't stop holding left click for 2 seconds. Oh, DPS. There you are. Damage roll passive, now only half as effective against tank heroes. 10% healing reduction. That's all that needed to happen for tanks. That's all that needed to happen. None of this needed to happen. None of this. 0. This line right here is all that needed to happen for tanks. So they solved it right here by decreasing the DPS passive for tanks. And then, like, none of this, like, should have happened at all. I'm lost. I don't know what to tell you. Alright. Ash. Bob now gains the tank roll passive? For what reason? Why? He's been in the game for like 4 years? 5 years? Why? What? I'm lost on this one. Will now be more resistant to knockbacks and critical damage. Okay. Okay, I guess. I'm not positive on that one. I don't play her enough to know if that's... I mean, he can contest a point, so I guess. Oh, Cassidy. Primary fire fall off range rescaled from 25 to 35 meters to 20 to 30 meters. I feel like he's still gonna be good. Close range shit skin who's more proficient at dealing with high mobility flankers. Well, yeah, you gave him a better flashbang. The Tracer can no longer use her blink and recall, and she can't crouch, so good luck. You can blink back and hope that it doesn't hit you in the AoE. Alright. Farah, huh? This character, when they said in the dev blog she had like a 58% win rate, I wouldn't be surprised if her win rate went over 60% in this patch alone. That's how fucking crazy she was. Concussive blast. Explosion damage reduced from 30 to 0. Explosion knockback radius increased from 6 to 8 meters. Knockback increased by 11%. So you now need to land it directly to get the damage off of it. However, they increased how far you're going to be pushed if this thing decides to come flying at you. It was being used as like a kill secure is what it was. And now it's just used to annoy the enemy team is all it's going to be. If it lands, it's going to do crazy damage. If not, it just mad displaces them now. And good luck trying to deal with the pharmacy in the sky. Have fun. Support, huh? Ana, sleep duration of effect on tank heroes decreased from 3.5 to 3 seconds. So they decided to buff all the tanks. However, yet in two lines, they kind of like solved the problem for tanks. With the DPS passive, now only 10% healing reduction to tanks. And then Ana, where Sleep Dart does not affect tanks as heavily. People have been screaming at the top of the mountains for this. And you give us this now when you decide to giga buff every tank? Okay. Okay, I'm not a game developer or balancer, but sure. Alari, huh? Oh, healing pylon. Allies no longer see the destroyed UI when healing pylon breaks. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think anybody fucking paid attention to that. Because the range on this thing is absolutely ridiculous, and the Alari would just set it in a absolutely ridiculous spot that you can't even see and can't break, but yet was somehow still able to heal like everybody on the team. So Ilari will still see the UI alert, but allies generally don't need to, as it could occur fairly often and be distracting. I mean, if she just places it in the right spot, it should not be happening often. She's incredibly strong. Pylon is absolutely busted. And then Zenyatta, our last one. Just reducing the ultimate cost on Transcendence. Zenyatta was impacted more than most by some of the changes in this patch. Huh? I mean, he's good. It's just that the meta's been like highly mobile. So he gets slapped around. What? Zen's good. It's just that this is not his meta. Okay. So, what's DPS supposed to do? Stare at the tanks? Because now they can't kill him. Well, Winston maybe. Ball is still annoying. You get to stare at the Zarya for an extra half a second as she stands there, so that's fun. Sigma still Sigma. Roadhog still Roadhog. Reinhardt is still dependent on a Lucio. Kind of the same with Ramatra if you're on attack, but that armor increase plus what they just did was absurd. I don't know what's Orisa, man. That's a crazy. It's so stupid. Just leave this character weak. Everybody hates this fucking character. Mauga, again, this is like the only good part. Overrun. The rest of this is like hell on wheels is all this is. Junker Queens, we'll have to see how that pans out, see if that's really good for her. Doomfist, I don't know how much this is gonna affect him. Again, we'll have to see over time. And then Diva, yeah, that's just crazy good defensive matrix being increased like that. So, if you are a DPS main, have fun trying to kill any tank. It's impossible for you to kill any tank now for some reason. So I mean, like, who's even viable for this? Situational. She can be alright, good. You haven't been good in a while. Maybe she's still good. The only thing they changed was concussive blasts, so her damage is still crazy and still shredding through armor at some points. They buffed you, but they didn't do anything. I guess wall, if you have a Zenyatta, and then you can just rush them down. Rat, maybe. Again, depends on the maps. Hanzo just purely exists as a tank buster now. Maybe Sojourn, because of the Pierce. Soldier is Soldier Boy. Yeah, he can be alright, I guess. Sombra, yeah, to go into the back line. Symmetra did get buffed. Maybe Symmetra, because now she can get max charge faster. Not sure on that one. Tor might still be good on certain maps, but with all these changes. Tracer, you just want to be in the back line. Venture, same thing, just try to get to the back line. Widow's going to want to be picking off supports. I mean, you go from tanks are somewhat killable to now you have two options. You either discord the tank and rush him down and dump every cooldown into him to kill him as fast as possible and win the fight, because tanks are now just super giga buffed, and having a tank while they don't have one just means you win the fight. Or you have like a full dive team and just dive into the backline and you kill the backline as soon as possible. I don't know what else is going to be viable. Damn. Alright, so what I wanted to say is that how many balance changes, number changes, just increasing numbers are we gonna do until we finally realize that these are just characters playing in a format that is not made for them? That's the best emote. How many changes is it gonna take to... I don't know. We're too far in. Like, you need to properly rework these tanks to make them work into this 5v5 format. But you can't just go back to 6v6 now because you're too far into the 5v5 hole. So you have to pick a side now. You've gone too far in. Do you go back to 6v6 and revert these changes that you've done over the past year and a half this game has been out, however long this game has been out, trying to force this mode to work, or properly rework these characters to make them work in this format? Wrecking Ball was not designed for this format. Roadhog was not. Reinhardt was not. Orisa. D.Va, Zarya. They were not made for this format. And the only thing I could see this patch doing is that DPS has become miserable and tank is still just as bad because now you're forced to counter swap. Maybe you could have made Winston work on a map or two, even into his bad matchups like Roadhog. But now for sure, due to some of these changes, there ain't no way in hell Monkey's gonna stand a chance against this guy who has 100% lifesteal and 40% damage reduction. There ain't no way he's standing up to Mauga in any situation now. There's just no way. It's just made the game worse and has forced you to now just like focus on try to focus on other things as the Mauga's in your face, as the Roadhog tries to hook you, as the Reinhardt is sitting there with his shield up for longer now, as the D.Va's in front of your face with defense matrix for longer. Good luck. I don't understand what's so hard about it. Your player base is at least 90% of it is unhappy with the state of the game and is just waiting for Marvel Rivals at this point. And the fact that you will not address 6v6 at all, or 5v5, or any of that argument at all. Yeah, people are mad. People are upset. You have both sides of the argument now being upset. Me personally, I do not care at this point. I don't care. But you need to take the proper steps in order to make these characters work in this format. Not some little tweaks and changes to an ability or two. Not changing how their primary fire works. No, rebuilding these characters from the ground up and making them work in this format. Because Roadhog's still the same after his rework. His playstyle was still the same. They just added an extra step to his one-shot. Wrecking Ball was still the same. He still had the same problems. Adaptive shields. Nobody gives a shit about this. I don't even notice it if I have a Wrecking Ball on my team. He got a quality of life change out of that. He didn't get reworked. The tank reworks have been awful. They don't even know what to do with Cassidy at this point. This is like the third time they've reworked him. Farah, once it came to light, everybody, it's just all of a sudden, boom, and their fucking win rate skyrocketed. So I'm just curious to see how many of these we're gonna do, how many buffs, how many number increases, how good do these tanks have to be before people finally snap and say, enough is enough, this shit is absurd and does not work. These characters, no matter how much you tweak them, these tanks are incredibly strong, yet feel like such shit to play. And it really feels like at times that you cannot do anything on some of these tanks. Even in like mirror matchups. In a Malga mirror matchup, dude, you're just shooting at each other. That's all that is. Orisa is boring. Ramatra can be alright. It's just, as soon as there's like a counter tank, everybody collectively groans as you are forced to switch now. I don't know, man. Where survivability is not the way. And when I heard in that dev blog that tanks were not tanky enough, my jaw almost hit the fucking ground as to how absurd that statement was. Tanks are not tanky enough. They are incredibly strong. They are just not made for this format. D.Va right now doesn't stand a chance against Zarya. She just doesn't. Not with these changes. Winston doesn't stand a chance against Hog or Malga now. Reinhardt can't contest Malga or Ramatra. It's absurd to say that tanks aren't tanky enough. Well, no, you address two problems in this patch right here. Look, there it is. 10% healing reduction to tanks only. Look, on a sleep dart, less effective on tanks. I don't get it. I don't know. So, support, I guess, kind of got a buff due to this. So that way they're not healing tanks as much. So, tank's still miserable to play. DPS is iffy depending on who you pick. And now, with support, you're playing Ana Bat Brig, Alari Kiriko, Lucio. Lifeweaver's garbage, Mercy's garbage, Moira 50-50, depends on the map, and Zenyatta, this is just not his map due to how high mobility it is right now. I'm speechless as to why they even did this in the first place. As to why they are changing these tanks to make them even more survivable. But I have said my piece. I am frustrated with this and very curious as to see how they will address the 6v6 issues, since Aaron Keller did come out and say that they will address it at some point. But as for today, that's everything.